Have you ever wondered what truly separates the super successful from everyone else? What's going on inside their heads?
Yeah, what's that sort of hidden code? The mental blueprint they seem to operate from.
Exactly. That's the mystery we're trying to unlock today.
Especially those who've, built significant wealth.
Mm.
And we're finding it's less about the money itself
Right.
and more about the thinking behind it, the patterns that lead to that success, and often a bigger impact too.
So where does this understanding come from?
Well, it's drawn from looking closely at quite a number of individuals. It suggests there are replicable mental models at play. And by looking at their actions, their decisions, how they react, we've distilled these down into 4 core mindsets.
And these aren't like rules they consciously follow.
No, not usually explicit rules. They're more like underlying patterns. You see them in how they operate, how they respond to challenges, their perspective. It's quite powerful when you see the whole picture.
Okay, let's unpack this. Where should we start?
How about we kick off with something really practical? This idea of, well, playing the best hand with your cards.
Okay, playing the hand you're dealt. Sounds straightforward, but I suspect there's more to it.
There is. It's a really pragmatic approach to, well, whatever life throws at you, making the absolute best of the situation you're actually in.
Like in a card game.
Exactly like poker or
Yeah.
backgammon. You might get a terrible hand,
Right.
or just have awful luck with the dice.
Happens all the time.
Right. But a skilled player doesn't just give up, or worse, play badly on purpose out of frustration.
No, that would be illogical.
Totally illogical. They focus. They concentrate on playing those cards, that specific situation, as optimally as they possibly can to maximize their chances, even if winning isn't guaranteed. It's about damage control sometimes, or setting up the next play.
Okay, so how does that translate to life and business? Because you don't exactly choose your starting point there either.
Precisely. You don't pick your family, where you were born, your innate talents, or your initial, resources or lack thereof. Those are the cards.
Those are the cards.
But you absolutely choose your reaction. You choose what you do with them. We've seen this come up again and again in conversations with successful people. This idea of leveraging your unique cards is just central.
So it's about a clear-eyed assessment first.
Yes, a dispassionate assessment of what you actually have to work with, followed by a relentless strategy to optimize it. It's not about wishing things were different.
It sounds a bit stoic, actually, like focusing only on what you control.
It has deep roots there. Think Marcus Aurelius. For these high achievers, it's not passive acceptance, though. It's an active mental discipline.
How so?
It's about strategically allocating your mental energy. You avoid getting exhausted by things you can't control, what the Stoics called indifference.
Like worrying about competitor actions or market downturns you can't influence.
Exactly. Instead, you pour that energy into your actions, your choices, your strategies, the things you can influence. It stops you getting bogged down in frustration and allows for really effective action where it counts.
Okay, that makes sense. So how can someone listening apply this? You mentioned steps.
Yeah, we've kind of broken it down into 3 practical things you could do.
All right, let's hear them.
First, you need to do a really honest audit. A dispassionate audit of your entire asset portfolio, tangible, intangible, latent, everything.
So not just money or skills.
No, list everything. Your circumstances, resources, definite strengths, sure, but also your weaknesses. And this is key. Think about how those weaknesses could, maybe, be framed or developed into strengths.
Interesting. Like a potential hidden upside.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Don't just assume a weakness is permanent. Also, list your network, your location, your personality traits, everything that makes up your unique hand. Write it down, be thorough.
Okay, got the list. What's next?
Step 2, analyze your market fit. Based on that specific hand you just listed, where do you have the biggest advantage? Which markets or fields play to your strengths?
So finding where your cards are most valuable.
Exactly. We know someone who started in architecture, right?
Mm-hmm.
But realized his very creative, maybe less structured way of thinking wasn't the best fit there.
Okay.
So he pivoted, found huge success in marketing, content creation, copywriting, places where that creativity is a massive asset, not a liability. He now actively avoids markets where his current cards don't give him an edge.
Because it's just inefficient otherwise, fighting uphill.
Totally inefficient. Why fight an uphill battle when you have stronger leverage points somewhere else? Play where your hand is strong.
Makes sense. And the third step, you said this is where it gets compelling.
Yes, because it's about action. Actively work to transform your hand over time. Identify those weaknesses, those negative cards, and build a strategy to turn them into strengths.
So it's not static. You can improve your hand.
Absolutely. Maybe you struggle with public speaking or a certain language. Those aren't fixed. They can be cultivated into incredibly powerful assets.
Can you give an example?
Sure. We know someone who genuinely disliked the sound of their own voice and hated public speaking. Hated it. But through consistent, deliberate effort,
Yeah.
that became a major asset for podcasting, for content creation, a huge part of their success. So the question for you listening is, what weakness could you strategically transform? Because your future success might really hinge on that transformation.
That's powerful. Shifting from accepting your cards to actively improving them. Okay, that's a great mindset. What's next on our list?
Let's talk about something that seems like a paradox. We call it the balanced thinker.
Balancing. Okay, balancing what?
Optimism and pessimism. You see, successful people are often painted as these relentless optimists, right? Always positive.
Yeah, the rah-rah types.
But actually, you talk to another significant group, and they'll tell you their success comes from being, well, pessimistic. Realistic, maybe.
Interesting contrast.
But what we observe in the most effective high achievers is that they don't pick one. They use both. It's a dynamic blend.
Okay, so let's break that down. Why is optimism essential? What does it bring to the table?
Optimism is your engine for vision. It lets you see grand possibilities, believe you can create more value than anyone else, push for innovations that seem, frankly, impossible to others.
It's the what if.
It's the what if, exactly. And there's research here too. Barbara Fredrickson's work in '98 showed positive emotions actually broaden our thinking, make us more creative.
So a good mood literally helps you find better ideas.
It seems so. Some people we know actively cultivate that optimistic state. Maybe put on uplifting music, specifically to generate those breakthrough ideas, a couple of insights that suddenly make a project 10 times better.
Right, I can see that. And it probably gives you the courage to even start something big and scary.
Absolutely critical. Optimism provides that initial spark, that bravery. You need it to tackle projects that, if you looked at them purely objectively, might seem completely illogical or doomed from the start. It's the why not me, let's go energy.
Okay, so optimism fuels the start, the vision, the creativity. But you said pessimism is also necessary. How does that fit in? Is it just about being negative?
No, not negative in a this will fail kind of way.
Yeah.
It's about being deeply realistic, meticulously prepared.
Okay.
Pessimism, or maybe realism, forces you to stare down the worst-case scenarios, to really calculate the costs, assess the actual risks, to acknowledge the sheer grind involved.
The eating dirt phase, as some call it.
Exactly. It strips away the rosy illusions and makes you confront the hard truths, the potential pitfalls. It compels an honest assessment.
So it's about preparation.
Yes, very much so. It links back to that Stoic idea again, premeditatio malorum, meditating on potential misfortunes.
Thinking about what could go wrong.
Not to dwell on it morbidly, but to prepare mentally and strategically. So if things do go wrong, you're not completely blindsided. You've thought through contingencies.
But isn't there a danger of being too optimistic? Flying too close to the sun?
Oh, huge danger. That's the trap. Excessive optimism, when it's not grounded in that pessimistic reality check, leads to massive blind spots.
Like underestimating the challenges.
Exactly. You overlook crucial hurdles, you wildly underestimate the effort, the time, the resources required, and that's when you get that classic story. Exciting idea, lots of enthusiasm, that it hits the first real snag and just fizzles out.
That it'll be easy fallacy.
Precisely. Because real success is rarely easy. Business, at its core, is about creating value. Simple rule. Whoever creates more value wins. Think about, say, luxury fashion, Balenciaga. They sell clothes that cost maybe, what, $10 to make?
If that.
For $1,500, $2,000. The value isn't just the cotton or the stitching.
Yeah.
It's the brand's fog, its invisible architecture.
The perception, the story, the status.
All of it. The psychological connection it creates. Now, the optimist can envision creating that kind of intangible value. But the pessimist figures out the practical steps, the hurdles, the costs, the strategies to actually build and protect that value structure.
So you need both lenses.
You absolutely need both. The optimist's vision and courage to even start, to believe you can create something amazing, and the pessimist's realism to map the minefield, plan the logistics, and understand the true, often brutal cost of success. It's a non-negotiable balance.
A balanced thinker. Got it. That's 2 mindsets down. What's number 3?
Let's shift focus a bit, from purely internal thinking to something that seems more external but is deeply strategic. It's about being the architect of self, specifically through cultivating a powerful personal brand.
Personal branding. That feels very relevant today.
Incredibly relevant. A personal brand is essentially the perception, the image, the story, the identity that people associate with you.
And you're saying everyone has one, whether they like it or not.
Everyone has one, but the difference is successful individuals don't leave it to chance. They consciously, meticulously shape and cultivate it.
And in the digital age.
Oh, it's become exponentially more powerful. Social media, YouTube, TikTok, podcasts like this, these platforms make building and projecting that brand easier, but also more crucial than ever.
It's about attention, isn't it?
Attention is arguably the most valuable currency today. We're talking about the cognitive real estate you occupy in your audience's mind. That trust, that recognition, it provides incredible leverage.
Leverage for what?
For almost anything. Many people are going to look back in 10, 20 years and wish they'd started building their personal brand now. It's like looking back at early Bitcoin, the potential was massive, but not everyone saw it or acted on it.
Can you give some examples of powerful personal brands making a real difference?
Sure. Someone like Alex Hormozi. They've built huge followings of businesses around their personal brands.
And maybe the most famous example.
Elon Musk is probably the ultimate case study right now. His personal brand, controversial as it sometimes is basically, was Tesla's marketing department for years.
Right, they spent very little on traditional ads compared to Ford or GM.
Exactly. His influence, the attention he commands, allowed Tesla to disrupt a century-old industry dominated by giants. That's the power of a cultivated identity. It's immense leverage.
So why do people build these brands? Is it just about money?
The motivations really vary. For some, yes, it's purely about monetization, generating income directly from their brand.
Okay.
Others focus more on influence, on power, using their platform to shape conversations, to lead movement.
And for others?
For some, like us and our team, it's about impact. Fulfilling a mission, helping others, sharing knowledge. The brand becomes the vehicle for that purpose. It's a really versatile tool, but it stems from an intentional internal decision to architect how you're perceived.
So the takeaway for someone listening is, don't ignore your personal brand?
Don't ignore it. Recognize its long-term strategic value. It's a serious investment in your future influence, your opportunities, your ability to achieve whatever your goals are. Start thinking now. How do you want to be seen? What's your unique story? What lasting impression do you want to make? Be the architect.
Be the architect of self. Okay, that's 3 powerful mindsets. We have one more to cover, right?
We do. And this one, well, this one might be the most provocative. It's what we call the controlled narcissist.
Whoa, okay, narcissist. That word has seriously negative connotations.
It absolutely does, and that's why the word controlled is so critical here. We're not talking about clinical narcissism, the personality disorder. Not at all.
Okay, clarify that. What are we talking about?
We're talking about an observation. When you look really closely at many, many highly successful people, you often find this significant undercurrent of, well, self-pride, an almost unshakable belief in their own exceptionalism.
They think they're special.
Deep down, yes.
Yeah.
There's often a degree of cultivated narcissism, a sense that they are, perhaps, the main character in their own story.
But don't they usually hide that? Present a humble face?
Very often, yes.
Yeah.
Especially if they're running public companies or need to manage investor relations. They become masters at concealing it for their public image.
So it's an inner conviction.
It's an inner conviction that they strategically cultivate. Not as a blind ego trip, but almost as a tool. They genuinely believe, often, that they can achieve things others simply cannot. That the usual rules might not fully apply to their path.
It sounds like intense self-focus.
It is, but channeled productively, not just as vanity. While we typically view narcissism negatively, that core of pride, that self-belief, can be an incredibly potent motivator. It drives people to push boundaries, to ignore existing industry standards, to attempt things that seem impossible to more realistic folks. Sometimes it's even negative motivation that works best.
Like wanting to beat a rival.
Exactly. Or proving doubters wrong. That kind of fuel can unlock potential that simple positive incentives just can't touch. Think about elite athletes, Mayweather, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kobe.
Yeah, they often radiated that I'm the best aura.
Absolutely. Their careers were often defined by this fierce, self-assured drive, not just to win, but to dominate, to validate their own perceived exceptionalism.
Is there any research on this in, say, the business world?
There is. A really fascinating study by Donald Hamburg back in 2007 looked at Fortune 500 CEOs. They didn't ask them, are you a narcissist? Of course.
They probably wouldn't get an honest answer.
Right. They used subtle metrics instead. Like how big was the CEO's photo in the annual report? How often did they use I versus we in interviews? How did they react to certain questions?
Clever. And what did they find?
CEOs who scored higher on these narcissistic indicators often led companies that were more dynamic, made bigger bets, and frequently showed better performance, especially in turbulent industries.
Why? What did that self-belief enable?
It seemed to give them an almost magnetic ability to articulate a compelling, bold vision, to rally their teams, convince investors, project confidence, even when things were uncertain.
Okay, but surely there's a massive downside. We all know arrogant leaders who fail spectacularly.
Absolutely. Unchecked narcissism is incredibly dangerous. That's the trap.
What does that look like?
It leads to extreme sensitivity to criticism. If any feedback feels like a personal attack, you stop learning. You stop growing.
Your ego becomes too fragile.
Exactly. You're constantly fighting a mental battle to maintain this perfect image, and you start making decisions based on protecting that image, not on sound strategy or substance. That's self-destructive.
So how do you get the benefit, that drive, that ambition without falling into the trap? What's the takeaway for listeners?
The challenge is precisely that. Cultivate the positive drive that comes from strong self-belief, that conviction that you can do something extraordinary. But crucially, do it without letting pride make you deaf to feedback or create an ego that shatters at the first critique.
So, strong belief, but with humility.
Strong belief combined with the humility to learn and adapt. The power comes from control over that self-belief, not letting it run rampant. It's a tool, not your master.
Wow. Okay, that's a really nuanced perspective on something often seen as purely negative. So those are the 4 mindsets we've unpacked.
That's right. Playing the best hand with your cards. That pragmatic optimization.
The balanced thinker, blending optimism and pessimism.
The architect of self, strategically building your personal brand.
And the controlled narcissist, channeling intense self-belief productively.
Yeah, it's quite a mix, isn't it? But what emerges isn't just a list of traits. It feels more like an interconnected system.
A system for thinking differently, for achieving maybe extraordinary results.
I think so. Internalizing these mindsets, really understanding them, could offer a significant shortcut. It might save you years of trial and error, or reading countless books, or seeking endless mentorships.
Because these are the patterns observed in people who've actually done it.
These are the patterns, not just abstract ideas, but the ways of thinking that seem to underpin high achievement. It's a potential blueprint. And because it's complex, maybe revisiting this conversation could be valuable. A second listen often reveals deeper insights as the ideas settle.
Good point. Let the concepts marinate a bit.
Exactly. And as you reflect on all this, maybe here's a final thought to chew on.
Okay, leave us with something provocative.
Consider your own cards right now, the hand you've currently got. What is just one thing you currently see as a personal weakness that you could consciously decide to start transforming?
Strategically transforming it into a strength.
Into a potential strength. Knowing that your future success, your ability to play a better hand down the line, might just depend on that very act of transformation. What would that be for you?